guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. So today is Tuesday. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great week so far, although why would you not be having a great week? Bitcoin is up 2.97%. Now, we have pulled back slightly. You can see over here, we actually did get all the way up to $8,007. We are having a little bit of a pullback. I do want to discuss this. Are we out of the woods just yet? Well, not quite. We do need to talk about this. I also want to discuss some speculation as to why Bitcoin is pumping. Some of it is a little bit of fake news. We're going to have to get into that in just a second. And also, could we possibly have found the greatest Bitcoin indicator of all time? Well, we're going to go into that in just a few, and it's probably not what you're thinking. And if that sounds good to you, well, you know what to do. Also, if you're not subscribed to the Crypto Zombie channel, we do this every single day. And don't forget, Monday is the Ledger Nano S giveaway. If you're interested, drop a comment on literally any video throughout the course of the week, and you are eligible. And oh yeah, we do have one more ICO exit scam.
Another one.
We'll get into that in just a bit. So for everybody that was shorting though, my goodness, I mean, yeah, we're not even going to get into that. But that being said, let's give this a quick refresh live. So we do have Bitcoin dominance actually up to 68.2%. It was sitting a little bit higher earlier, maybe because we're pulling back. You might see a little bit of, money going into Tether. Now you will notice that Tether is back at position number 4. That is a topic I do want to go over today. But first of all, having a look at these altcoins, we do have Centrality, Chainlink, Horizon, IOTA, ZB token, Crypto.com, Hypercash, MCO, and iExec all doing quite well today. And before we get into the short-term analysis, I do want to just remind everybody that despite everybody saying that, 2019 was a terrible year for Bitcoin and Bitcoin's going to die, it's going to go to zero, whatever, well, we actually ended on a nice green year. So you guys could see, we've only really had 2 red candles for the years for Bitcoin, one being in 2014 and then one obviously being in 2018. So we had a red candle followed by 3 green years. So does that mean we're going to put in 3 green candles? Well, we'll have to see. But short term, guys, you can see we are getting rejected from the $7,860 level. That was where we had this peak out here for this wick. Now, we did break out of the head and shoulders pattern, so this was confirmed. However, we are now sort of looking like we're trying to push back down again. So will we retest the neckline as support this time around? That is a possibility. You can see we did have this sort of golden cross if you want to call it that, with the 50 and the 21 exponential, but unfortunately we find ourselves back inside of the descending wedge. You can see we're sitting just under the purple line, which really isn't exactly, sort of bullish, because we need to break out of this in order to, really put in that next leg up. Now, there is a possibility we could just be falling to put in another higher low, right? We have a higher low here. Maybe we'll fall down to, sort of the $7,000 level. That is a possibility. Or we may get supported right around the 7.3K, 7.4K level, where we do have both of these EMAs, the 21 and the 50. But the biggest one, the one that we were most excited about, was the fact that we had the golden cross on the weekly chart over here. But you could see currently we are starting to pull down a little bit, right? So what is causing this? Well, the obvious, right, is that we have a CME futures gap, and that gap closed overnight. And in order to essentially fill this gap, and we do know every single gap thus far has gotten filled, maybe it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, we're not quite sure, but that gap is around $7,685. So realistically, there is a very good chance that Bitcoin will at least minimally wick down to the $7,685 level. However, to get sort of short-term bullish, especially on this futures chart, I really want to get back above this 200 daily moving average. You can see right here, that essentially was the bottom when we touched it before we had that crazy President Xi pump on October 25th, where Bitcoin pumped, 43%. So getting back above that would be great. And that level is around $8,471. So let's keep our eyes on that if we really want to get bullish. But I am happy to see that we are sitting above the 21 exponential on the monthly. And the reason this is such a crucial level is because you can see whenever we fall below it, well, you can see right here, we were testing it, we were dancing on it right around the end, or sort of like the middle of the 2018 bear market. And as soon as we finally fell below it, my goodness, that is when we had that massive drop, just from solid candle to solid candle, 36%, even more if you're going to the wicks. And then you can see right here, once we sprung above it, well, look right here, we had that massive blast off. Well, that was basically the blast off that, essentially led Bitcoin all the way up to the top. But we're sitting above it, so we will take that. We will take that. However, looking at what Willy Woo pointed out, now he mentions what CL says, and essentially they're saying a trend reversal cited in the wild. So what are they talking about? Well, essentially you can see he says when price starts deviating away from the 4-hour 200 moving average out of the bands, especially after consolidation and a Bollinger Band squeeze, a new trend usually emerges. Now, let's be honest, we've been in a downtrend for over 6 months now. He says there's not much more to say. I will be buying the dips. Send it. And you can see right here, essentially, every time we break out of the bands, yeah, we do have a massive move. You can see here's one to the downside, May 4th to the upside. We have the April 1st breakout right in the beginning of the year. And of course, right now, you could see the January 6th breakout. We did get outside of the band. So could this be the beginning of a Bitcoin reversal? Is the bottom in, and are you strapped in and ready to go to the moon? Well, I certainly am, but the question is that where we're going? Well, I'll have to say, guys, it has been an amazing start to the month. We are still holding on this legacy trend line, which I was really worried about that we were going to fall below. You know, we had a few brushes with death kind of down here. We fell below it, and currently we are sitting well above it. So as long as we can kind of maintain on this trend line, you know, sort of riding above it, even if we just dip below slightly, that is still good for me short term. And like I said, we are still on the stock to flow ratio, basically where we should be. However, I want to just sort of mention Murad Mahmoudov, so full credit to him. He was talking about Tuesday's spike, and I do apologize that this is a little bit blurry, but just bear with me. He says that this was an SOS point for Bitcoin in a Wyckoff term. So essentially, SOS stands for sign of strength and typically follows a so-called spring event, which sees a price low point. After the SOS, a slight retracement called a backup should precede further gains according to the model. And you can see also he did mention, he said, don't try to outsmart yourself on short time frames, zoom out and think big. He says in his view, Bitcoin is going to $100,000 per orange coin. Now, having a look at what Crypto Wolf said, a lot of people are getting pretty damn excited. You could see we were talking about these descending wedges on both Bitcoin and Ethereum yesterday. And yeah, if we have a breakout and we're able to actually hold above some of these key resistances, well, he basically says money waiting on the sideline will likely FOMO in. And I think a lot of people are waiting for this break outside of this trend to confirm that we are finally basically having that trend reversal that we've been waiting for. Now, some news about why Bitcoin's price could be pumping. Now, this has been debunked, but in case you haven't heard about it, a lot of people are asking, why is Tether number 4? How did Tether get above Bitcoin Cash? Well, you can see it looks like there was some Tether that, potentially got injected right here. You could see having a look. You know, some people are saying there was right here, they were saying a $500 million injection. Well, it turns out that this was actually a mistake. It was an article that was posted by CoinDesk. They actually updated it. You could see right here, you actually had the CTO of Bitfinex and Tether basically saying, you need to verify your data. No issuance here, no news. And as you could see, the increase in Tether's market cap was likely due to not counting Tron. So once they added in the Tron USDT, that's essentially why it increased, right? Because don't forget, you have it on Omni, you have it on ERC20 for Ethereum, and then you also have them on Tron as well. So there's a lot of different ways you can utilize Tether, right? So be careful with the fake news out there, guys. It definitely spreads fast. So no, that was not the situation. You could see they actually did say, hey, we screwed up. They fixed the article, etc. So that has been taken care of. Now, best Bitcoin indicator yet. And I told you it wasn't what you guys think. Now, obviously, this is a bit of a joke, a bit of a meme, but in all honesty, you have to admit, every time Peter Schiff makes a Bitcoin tweet, doesn't the price kind of pump? It's like you should almost just counter trade this guy, right? Like the same way we should counter trade CNBC. You can see right here, White Rabbit says there needs to be a name for this phenomenon now. Peter Schiff is almost too good of a counter indicator for movements. And look at this. Basically, he said, continuing the December trend, all asset classes are rising except Bitcoin, which may have been the best performing asset of the last decade, but it's already the worst performing asset of this decade. Now, keep in mind, he's using the terminology that Bitcoin is the worst performing asset of the decade, and he's tweeting this on January 2nd, meaning that this decade has literally 2 days worth of data. Anyway, that being said, he says, well, I think US stocks will drop soon. I think Bitcoin will fall even faster. Well, literally, right after that, we began the massive pump, and currently, I believe we are up around 7% on the day. So what should we call this indicator? Huddlenot says, Boomer Strength Index, BSI, maybe. But you can see right here, guys, this is nothing new. I mean, essentially, if we just counter traded all of these basically bear tweets that Peter Schiff had, they would have been great entry points for Bitcoin all along. Not to mention, probably the one that's going to go down in history as the most infamous tweet is basically when he tweeted at the bottom right here, not only has Bitcoin broken out of its bear flag pattern, projecting a move to 6K, but the head and shoulders pattern that I mentioned was forming over the weekend has now been confirmed as well. If this pattern completes, it projects a much larger decline, perhaps as low as 1K. Guys, this was one day before Bitcoin pumped 43%. Yes. Okay, so we're starting to think that potentially the best Bitcoin indicator is to counter trade whatever Mr. Schiff has to say. Let me know if you guys agree with that moving forward. But we do have some good Bitcoin news, something very positive fundamentally. You can see right here, it says SegWit adoption in Bitcoin's network has hit 66%. Now, this is after BitMEX has implemented their upgrades. Now, obviously, if you check different data, for example, Willy Woo says the number is closer to 59%, 66%, really doesn't matter, guys. The point is that it is increasing. This is good. And if you're not familiar with what SegWit was, well, essentially it basically just frees up space, right? They say that it allows capacity, and what they do is they take the signatures out, right? Now, this was the upgrade that actually pissed off Roger Ver and a few other people, and that's kind of where that original split started when Bitcoin Cash started, right? Because they took the signatures out, and then that's when they said, well, that's not really Satoshi's vision, right? So that is basically a little bit of history for you if you're interested, but overall, seeing that we are having up to 66% adoption is good. I wish it was 100. I don't know what's taking some of these exchanges so long to upgrade. But moving on, guys, Baidu has released its own cryptocurrency. Yes, it's called Xuperchain with an X. The network is compliant with China and uses a series of master nodes, okay, to run the network. Now, the Xuperchain platform is designed to support blockchain-based applications similar to Ethereum. However, it's not utilizing Ethereum. It is its own chain. And this is the thing moving forward. I do think you're going to notice that more of these, if these governments start to use their own chains, or for example, in this case, it's just Baidu, but they're most likely going to want to have their own chains that are centralized, that they can control, right? Something to just consider moving forward. They do say in the white paper that its role is to help modernize China's capacity for governance. It wants to help China leapfrog other countries in the development of blockchain technology, pointing to the 13th five-year national informatization plan? Did I say that right? Anyway, written in 2016, which does include blockchain. And we do know that President Xi said blockchain, not necessarily Bitcoin, right? So we do have to make sure that we keep the difference between that, but wouldn't be a day in crypto without another crypto exit scam. Yes, FOIN token has tanked from $3,000 to about $6 in just the past few days. What seems to be happening right now is the unregulated fintech company Financial Org has closed down, crashing the value. Unfortunately, both ICO buyers and investors in the asset have been left without their coins, despite promises that they would be unlocked trading very soon. And to add insult to injury, the project was communicating until the very last minute, the 11th hour, that they were promising to add merchants and unroll a payment system. And you can see, even though the coin is actually pumping right now, which is crazy. This just goes to show you how crazy crypto is. People are actually buying this to speculate on the price. But I mean, yeah, look at that drop. I mean, that's like basically just a wall, like a straight down drop. So yeah, it's up 110% since $3, but it's also down 99.8%. So once again, guys, this is why altcoins are indeed very risky. But that being said, guys, moving into 2020, what are some of the things we could do? Well, we can share crypto content. We can start accepting crypto as payments, right? Obviously, investing in crypto, I'm sure we already do. You can consult businesses about blockchain, help develop Web 3.0 technology, or just simply educate your friends and family about crypto. No task is too big or too small. And that being said, guys, thank you so much once again for coming back to the channel. Let's have a quick look. There you go. So we had a nice little spring back. Look at that. Look at the bulls defending the line. Well, it's definitely going to be an interesting week, guys. We do know that we still need to get above that 7.8K, 7.9K level, hold above that. If we could hold above 8,000 short term, I'd be a happy camper. That being said, thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. You're the reason that I do this every single day. Once again, if you haven't joined my absolutely free Telegram group, I do have the link right above over here, and I will drop that below. And that is it for me today, guys. So enjoy the rest of your day. I will see you tomorrow, and until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.